Hello and welcome back to the JENEsys Edge product line video series. My name is Charles Johnson, lead trainer, technical engineer at Lynxspring, and today we're going to be talking about BACnet integration. Now, BACnet integration is the most popular integration. It is, it's here to stay. It's not really going anywhere. LAN has kind of dropped off, though, you can see a lot of LAN, depending upon where you go in the country. And Modbus, I don't think Modbus will go anywhere, but it's nowhere near as popular as it was before. Okay, so we're just going to be focusing on how to actually do the integration itself, and I'm not going to be talking about much about what BACnet really is. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we're going to want to add a BACnet network to our station. So I'm going to go ahead and expand my station here. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the BACnet palette. And I'm going to drag a BACnet network into my driver's container. And I'm just going to name it BACnet network. It is important to note that you can only have one BACnet network per station, whether this is an Edge 534 or a PC station or a JACE. Because technically BACnet is really an internetwork of multiple data links, which could be through IP or MSTP, a combination of any of them. Now that I've dropped in my BACnet network, we're only going to be focusing on BACnet over IP, and the IP port is automatically included when we bring in the BACnet network, and we cannot delete it. And if you don't believe me, right-click on the IP port, and the delete is grayed out. Now we need to follow 4 steps in order to successfully make sure that our BACnet network can be discovered, or that the Edge 534 can discover BACnet devices. The first one that we need to do, step 1, is to go ahead and configure our local device to a number other than -1. If I were to double click on the local device, the object ID is -1, and we see the status is fault. I'm going to give this a unique number, and I'm going to do 168.1.180, so 1,681,180. How did I come up with that number? I literally just took the last 3 octets of my IP address and gave that my object ID, because it's very unlikely that this is going to ever be anywhere else. So that is step 1. Step 2, I'm going to expand the BACnet COM and double click on my IP port. I'm going to give this a network number of 1,000. Actually, we'll do 10,000. We then change the adapter to the adapter that we need. In our case, it's going to be Ethernet 0. And then we're going to go ahead and enable the port. And we're going to click Save. And now we see that we have everything here. Actually, I'm going to change this to 1,000 and not 10,000. Okay. All right. So now that I've changed this to 1,000, I've changed my link, and I've enabled the port. I'm going to right-click on the BACnet network and go to my AX BACnet Device Manager. And then I'm going to go ahead now and click Discover. Had I gone to my BACnet Device Manager beforehand, I would not have been able to actually discover anything because it wasn't set up to discover. So I'm going to go ahead and select Discover and check the port that I want to discover on, and select OK. Now I see the device that I want to bring in here. Here's a chiller. I also have a heating plant and a Modbus device. I've also got a few Niagara stations on the network here as well. I'm going to go ahead and now select Add, and I'm just going to name this Chiller 01 and select OK. Now that I've selected my device and I brought it into my database, I'm going to go ahead and expand this device, and then I'm going to just double click on points to bring up the points manager. And because I've already been putting things in folders, like I did under my Onyx network, I want to make sure that I keep uh, the same kind of structure. So because I had inputs and outputs, etc., I may not necessarily change the inputs and outputs, but I'm going to put all my points under one folder here. So now I'm in my point manager. I'm going to select new folder. Now, when you select new folder here, it's actually going to give us a points folder. I'm just going to name this control. And you can see now that the folder icon actually resembles the points icon. This tells us that this is a special folder that will allow us to discover our points. And now that I'm in my points folder, and how do I know this? Because in the locator bar, it tells me where I am. And now I'm going to select discover. And as I discover, I see that I have a bunch of points here. I'm going to go ahead and select all these and then select add. So now I'm going to go ahead and name all these. And how I know the name? Well, I know the name because there's a descriptor of each point here in my BACnet. So BI1 or 01 is chiller run status. BI2 is chiller alarm. AI01 is CHW temp, S temp. And because I've been doing underscore SNSR for the rest of my points, I'm going to be doing the same here. And I'm doing that for a reason. You're going to see that in a little bit here. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and change this to CDW, which CDW actually stands for condenser water, or you can just do CW if you wanted to. But CDW is actually the old, and actually an old way to do this. Temp underscore SNSR. And then OA temp. Now, I have BV1, which is my chiller enable command. So I may want to write to this point. Now, normally I don't necessarily recommend doing enable through integration. I'd rather it be a hardwire point. But let's say right now we don't have a controller on our network for chiller control. So as of right now, we're going to go ahead and make this our enable point. Now, to do this, I need to make it writable. When I do this, the enabled property actually goes to false. We need to select it back to true. And let's go ahead and name this chiller enable. I'm going to do CMD for command as well. AV1 is going to be our chill water set point. SCTPT. And now again, I'm going to make this writable. And when I make it writable, the enabled port goes to false. And then I'm going to do chill water flow switch. Okay, so now everything has come in here. We now have the ability to write to our variables, our writable points here. A couple things I want to look at as well. So because I named these sensor here, or with the underscore sensor, I'm going to go ahead and select edit tags. And when I select edit tags, I'm going to go to implied tags here. And we can see that under the implied tags, my HS colon SNSR, or my HS colon sensor is here. And if I look at my set point tag, or if I look at my set point here, go to implied tags, we see the HS:SP is here. Now, sometimes you might see property right access denied, which means that based upon the uh, value, where see we here now it says default, that may not be available through BACnet. Therefore, we will get a write access denied. If we were to write, were to start to write to this at a priority in which we can, we should be able to go ahead and write to it, and this write access denied goes away. So sometimes when you see this, don't worry about it right away. Absolutely check your manufacturer's documentation to make sure you find out which priority that you need to write to. But we're not going to do any of that logic here today. Again, this is actually just to show you how to do a BACnet integration. And that's all that I have for you today. Have a great one.